Hey guys, this is Cory from CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, and today I'm going to review Phantom Thread, directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson. So Phantom Thread, checked it out at Regal LA Live, the 6th time I've seen a movie at Regal LA Live since I've started doing these reviews. This movie was a surefire thumbs up from the second I heard about it. You don't have to spend any extra time or effort trying to get me to see a Paul Thomas Anderson film, and specifically you don't have to spend any extra time or effort to get me to see a Paul Thomas Anderson, Daniel Day-Lewis film. Top 5 in their respective categories. It's an absolute must-see for me. And this movie also had a ton of great supporting characters in it that I wanted to get into. But first, sort of just the general plot. Daniel Day-Lewis plays Reynold Woodcock, who is a dressmaker from the House of Woodcock in 1950s London. Basically, him and his sister Cyril run the empire along with many talented dressmakers, and his home in London acts both as his home and the place where he invites dignitaries in to create these incredible dresses for various events, weddings, and so forth. Early in the movie, we see that he has a woman in his life who's sitting at the breakfast table with him and Cyril, and it's reached the end. You don't need any special movie moment to show that this relationship has moved on past its expiration date. And when Reynold goes to the country, he meets Alma, who becomes his new lady, his new muse. And he takes her back to London, where she starts living the life with him. He has a very specific, very particular life. And throughout the entire course of the movie, you see these little moments where Alma takes him away from what he would prefer to be doing. Rob and I were talking about it after the fact. There's a lot of parallels that can be made between the life of Reynold Woodcock and the life that Rob likes to lead. For instance, at one point he's working working on a dress, and Alma brings him tea, and she comes in and she puts it down. He gets a little bent out of shape about the particulars, like, what, you don't put it on the table? You know, I thought you would want tea. And it's like, well, I didn't ask for tea, and I can't believe you would bring me tea. And then when she's walking out, something along the lines of, tea is gone, but the distraction lives on. It's the type of behavior you hear from sort of diva actors or diva singers or performers of some kind, where they want to have everything very particular, and the act of even the disturbance is enough to ruin his mind space. Beyond that, I don't want to get too much into sort of the particulars of the movie. I really feel like this is the type of one that you're just going to want to see. You're not going to want to know a whole ton about going in. The performances throughout this entire film are just breathtakingly great. And if you're an actor who's listening to the sound of my voice and you don't go check out Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in this, then I don't know what you're looking for in performance, because he with his mannerisms, with his face, he says more than any line of dialogue that could be written could possibly do. Daniel Day-Lewis at this point is at the absolute top of his game. The little tiny choices he decides to make are brilliant and should really be at the top of any actor's list if you want to learn how to take your performance from merely reading lines to creating a character and delivering it for a film. It's really a sight to see. Criticisms, overall, this film is right where you want it to be. There's not a whole lot that I can point at in terms of criticisms, but the two things that sort of topped my list, the sound was off. I didn't like how somewhere along the process the mixing certainly wasn't there. To me, it sounded like there wasn't enough to get second channels of clean audio. So I mean, like, if your characters or if your actors are wearing a lav and being boomed at the same time, you can, if something goes wrong, if there's like a disconnection on the lav, at least you have the boom. You can also take the boom and the lav and mix the two tracks and to make a more full vocal experience. But this movie just sort of, it seems all over the place with the mixing, and I don't know if that's a problem that happened on set and in post they were trying to fix it, or if everything came out great on set and then in post they couldn't get it quite right. But as a sound guy, it kind of bothered me watching this film at times because the sound was just not as on par with the frames that were being shot and the performances that were being captured. It's certainly not enough that I would say it ruined the film, because the film, it might be the type of thing that only I, as a sound guy, noticed, but it also was the only major tick against it. Really, at this point, kind of inconsequential of anything. My only other complaint is that it was a little long, but that's sort of how it goes these days. And as I've said before about auteur directors, you sort of have to just give them the faith. They can go a little bit longer. They can create a longer final product, and it's best not to try and keep them from creating the film that they wanted to. Just let PTA have the extra 20 minutes. But I probably, for the sake of a better overall film, I would have preferred if they had gone without. You know what time it is now, ladies and gents? It's leaderboard time. Saw it at LA Live, so this is the 6th tick for LA Live on the leaderboard. And because LA Live has the top spot on the leaderboard, it feels only right. Phantom Thread, #1 now on the leaderboard at 8.7. It's not a perfect film. It's not my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film, but that's also like saying that pizza wasn't as good as other pizzas I've had. It's pizza. At the end of the day, it's delicious. It's pizza. Don't overthink it. Paul Thomas Anderson brings it. Daniel Day-Lewis brings it. The people who play Leslie Manville and Vicky Krieps, who play Cyril and Alma respectfully, are both fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. I mean, it's a rather small cast. I mean, those are the main players that you see constantly throughout the movie. They're the ones who keep it all together, and just a tremendous effort from top to bottom by everyone involved. Anyway, that's it for me. If you want more, you can go to CoryBakerFilmmaker.com or check out my Facebook page at facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at LegendCB5. If you like this video, please share it or like it or subscribe or do anything that you can do to help me out. If you have any disagreements, feel free to put them in the comments below, or, you know, if you like what I'm having to say, if you're enjoying these reviews, please put that down in the reviews as well. Now, if you excuse me, I'm off to make an elegant dress for a lady.